Alright, so right out of the gate, these are some of the things that I ordered from Banggood. The Umi Super, the case for it, and the glass screen protector. Now, when I looked up this product, I absolutely loved it. I love the specs, I love the features. When I first took it out of the box, I went, wow, this is a really nice quality product. It feels and it looks like a high quality product. Unfortunately, that is the illusion and the only time you will think it's a great product, because the more you get into it and the more you use it, the more you find out these things that you thought were nothing are significant problems with this phone. Now, the first thing out of the box I noticed was that the screen protector that they sell for the phone, that they say is for the phone, does not fit this phone. Yes, it's the same size. It has the cutouts, but the Umi Super, I don't know if you can see in this video, but it's got a semi-beveled edge. So the point is, the glass is perfectly flat. So when you put it on the phone, the edges do not adhere at all. And the screen of this phone is almost perfectly from edge to edge. So with this not adhering to almost 1/4 of an inch all the way around, was a huge issue, because you can't press buttons, dirt gets under and it peels off. So immediately, this was a ripoff. And then after opening the phone, logging into it, and getting used to it, the first thing I noticed was that the screen sensitivity, see right there, doesn't want to open. The screen sensitivity is really bad. I thought at first it could have been my hands or something, but no, it's definitely the phone, because the more you use it, the more you realize nearly 40% of the time, right there again, come on, open up. Nearly 40% of the time you touch the screen, it doesn't respond. You know, there's times where it's perfectly fluid and touchy and it works, and then there's times where it doesn't. So the more you use it, the more you realize how unreliable the screen is when you touch it, and how hard you sometimes have to press compared to a normal phone, and it's extremely frustrating. Let's see, the other thing I noticed was that the speaker, even with the volume completely maxed out, you can barely friggin' hear people. And there's no other options. I've looked all over the place. And then the other thing you'll see in the videos that I'll be talking about coming up soon, the GPS is absolute garbage. This thing has no idea where I am half of the times. And I have another phone, similar international unlocked phone. This thing works on all the same GSM networks this one does, and I'm currently using it on the same network that this one was used on. And I use the GPS app on this, and it works flawlessly. This thing is confused beyond all reason on my position. Now, this phone doesn't have 4G. This one does, and there were plenty of times where I was in full 4G areas where it responded and said I had full 4G, and it just didn't. It would tell me I wasn't connected to a service. So that was another issue entirely. Trying to think what else I missed. Oh yeah, and this thing didn't work, period. Now, this thing literally lasted 3 days, and by the 3rd day, the drop-down menu didn't work 100%. The phone absolutely froze up on me and malfunctioned. The drop-down menu would not work. I could not touch half the buttons on it. And sometimes I wouldn't touch it at all, and the drop menu would come down and freeze up the phone. And it got so bad that I actually had to reset the phone and wipe it entirely after only 3 days of minimal usage. That's pretty bad. So now this video and all the issues I had with it are after I reset the phone. Now, for both the GPS issues, the touchscreen issues, the volume issues, I looked through every setting on this thing. I looked through dozens of forums. There is no way to tweak or modify the settings to fix these issues. A lot of people suggested a series of different apps on the App Store. I looked at the top app for adjusting screen sensitivity. I looked at the top apps for adjusting the GPS. I looked at the top apps for modifying the volume. And no matter what I used, it literally had no effect. Yeah, and eventually the phone died on me and stopped working. And I mean, I've only had it, I think, like 4 days. And I'm comparing it to this. This thing, the touchscreen, you know, this thing's old. Yet the touchscreen is 100% accurate. Even with minimal touches, this thing reads perfectly. This thing, I'm sitting there like friggin' Jim trying to shove my finger through the screen half the times. Meanwhile, this looks like a better, you would think it's a better screen and a better phone, and it looks like it is. But unfortunately, it's not. Now, even the GPS, this is running the exact same stuff as this phone. So, and this phone has done the same routes and stuff with the GPS, like I was using. And this thing, it doesn't disconnect. It works perfectly. You'll see in the video that this thing, it gets morally confused every time you go to use it. And then finally, I only have a few pictures to show. The last thing is the image quality on the camera. It kind of sucks. The software behind the camera is absolute garbage. You have to mess with all the settings just to get this thing to take a moderately good picture. And I tried a different series of different photo apps to think maybe it would fix it, but it doesn't. Now, I could care less. I really didn't get this for the camera. I got this thing for, one, it's a nice large phone with a very good, or what I thought would be a good touchscreen. Problem is, touchscreen sucks. I wanted this to replace my car GPS, and this GPS doesn't fucking work. And by the end of the day, the thing barely functions. So the longer you use it throughout the day, it just becomes more and more frustrating. And the biggest problem is, I've read through all your forums, and I've gone through all these people who are having the same problems as me, and then finally Umi's like, oh, we fixed it, and I look at threads, and they're months old, which means I have the newest, up-to-date software on this thing, and all these problems still persist. And a lot of people are complaining that when they address these complaints, their posts got deleted. You know, I got this thing because when I looked it up, it had good reviews, good stars, plenty of people bought it, so I thought it was a reliable, safe purchase. And then the more I dove into it, after I started having these problems, I'm finding all these forums where this phone is an absolute nightmare, and it looks like Umi's already looking at their next phone instead of fixing the issues they have with this one. And I mean, this thing's pretty damn new. I mean, it only just released a month, or it's not even a few months old yet. And they've already given up on it, it looks like, and moved on to their newer phone. So this phone's never going to get fixed or updated to a point where it actually fixes these issues. So I'm incredibly pissed that I just bought, you know, this stuff. And at first, you know, I thought maybe it was an issue with the screen, with the touch sensitivity. So I actually tried a couple different screens, and it didn't help. Or hurt. The phone just is unresponsive, and you'll watch this when I do the typing test against this and this. This is perfect. This thing never screws up a single word or text or anything. This thing struggles consistently as you go to type and perform actions. Yeah, so I'll show you in the video. Now, this is one of the first things I was talking about the phone with the GPS. The problem it has is that the GPS is either incredibly inaccurate or can't maintain a consistent position. So it'll constantly try rerouting, or you can watch the dot move. Even though I don't turn and stay consistently moving on the same road, as I pass nearby streets and intersections, the dot will move on to other roads, think I'm moving in a different direction, so it'll constantly be going, oh, turn right, or turn left, or make U-turn, and it just doesn't know where the hell I am. Meanwhile, I'm staying in the exact same direction. Now, my other phone, I use the same app, and it just doesn't happen. And you'll watch this, and it just has consistent trouble finding my location. Right now, I'm not en route to anywhere, but you're going to watch it jump around a few times, and then later on, I have an en route, and it will show all the times that it can't stay on route because it doesn't know where the GPS is, because it's so inaccurate. As soon as it gets near another road that you're driving on, it assumes you're on that road and then skips over to it, and it's just so screwed up. Alright, now this is the section of the video where I'm going to be actually putting a location and then driving to it. So you're going to watch the line show my route. And you're going to watch as it jumps around and that line changes. Meanwhile, I'm still en route in the correct direction because it assumes I'm on a different road. So it changes my route accordingly, telling me to turn right or turn left. Meanwhile, I'm already on the road I'm supposed to be on. But it's so inaccurate that as soon as you get a road that connects to the one that you're currently on, it will change location, like right there. It assumed I turned down that road, and then it jumped to the other road. And the whole time, you can watch my hands on the fucking steering wheel. It's obvious I am not turning anywhere. I am going in the same direction. So you can't even say I'm like, oh, I'm turning or going down these streets and just complaining. No, the wheel hasn't moved. It's still going straight, and it's already screwed up 4 times now. I haven't even driven a half a mile, and this thing is completely confused on where I am. And my other GPS doesn't have this issue. Here it is again. Just watch the line, and then it'll probably jump to the road right to the right of it. Yep, there we go. And I didn't make a turn, and I'm not going down that road. Oh, no, it jumped back now. And then a couple times it thinks I'm like a fucking airplane because it just flies off the damn road and panics. And it's just really annoying because my other GPS doesn't do this. I'm maintaining perfect connection the entire time. The GPS is staying connected. It just doesn't know where the phone is. And yes, by the way, I do have high accuracy mode on the phone. I went through the settings, double checked that the high accuracy mode was on, and that didn't help. And then I downloaded 2 different apps that helped calibrate the GPS settings, or at least they claim they did, but unfortunately it didn't make a difference. See, here it is again. It thinks I'm on a road that I'm not on. I'm actually on the road next to it. It's probably going to jump back shortly once the roads get close enough, because then again the GPS doesn't know where it's at. So it just randomly gives a position and then jumps onto that road and gets confused. It'll be an example at this turn here. I don't know if I turn or not. I'll watch my hands. But nope. Oh, look, it's skipping over again. It's getting confused. Nope, now it's back on there. Oh, now it's rerouting because it thinks I'm on that road. Oh, now it's rerouting again. Oh dear. As you watch it, it's just going to keep skipping around.
Continue 0.6 miles, then turn left on Tennessee 61 West.
Now that that disappointment with the driving GPS thing is over, here we're going to go to the phone, the texting. It's a little difficult to see, but I'm going to be texting one, the Alphabet, another one, I like Samsung Galaxy 7, and I watch YouTube or something I text. And right now I'm on the Umi Super and I'm trying to text the Alphabet, and I'm only hitting each key once and just going through it and then seeing what didn't register. And each time, man, there's like 6 letters that just straight up don't register. And you'll watch me go do it a couple times, type through sentences, and right here I'm sitting there typing something, and it just won't. I'll sit there typing the same button over and over again. It just doesn't respond or do anything. It just gets hung up and confused. And I'll pull out my other phone and it's perfect. And at one point I touch a couple buttons on my one phone. And it registers perfectly, and then using the same pressure, I touch the Umi Super, and it notices like 2 letters out of these 17 or something that I sit there trying to hit. And it, at first you don't think it's anything, but the more you type and the more you use it, the more it malfunctions, and you're constantly having to go back, retype things, sit there hitting buttons multiple times, and extremely frustrating and impossible to use for any kind of messaging, because it's just that unreliable. The buttons and stuff just don't register. And sometimes you can touch the phone with little ease and it works perfectly. And then the other 40% of the time, it just doesn't work. And it's just increasingly more frustrating as I go. And it was a lot worse before I did the reset. It got to the point where it just didn't register at all. I couldn't type, period. So this is after I did the reset, and it's running a little bit better, but it still has all the same problems. And it's hasn't even been 24 hours since I was forced to reset it from it malfunctioning and freezing up. So who knows? Maybe in another 2 days, it's just going to do the same thing and stop working entirely again. Yeah, right here I'm texting on my older phone, and you don't have to touch the buttons hard at all, and it registers perfectly. I mean, other than me accidentally hitting a wrong button, but it still registers that wrong button. The Umi Super, it just straight up doesn't do anything. You'll type a sentence and just, it's nothing but broken words that it can't even autocomplete for you because it's missing that many buttons that it failed to press. And of course, this phone's too small, so unless it's a little bit difficult to see what I'm typing, it's a much smaller phone than the Umi Super, which also means that the buttons are a bit more difficult to press because my hands are too big. But this phone, you watch me here, I'm just typing in random buttons. On the other phone, it registered every single button press or every single touch. This phone, as you watch me, you can see that it's just not registering nearly half the times my finger touched the screen, and my hands are completely clean. I washed them. I believe I show you at some point my fingers. They're clean. They don't have calluses on them or anything, and it just won't register. And then here I'm showing the screen again. How it just because of the bevel edges of the phone, the screen wouldn't adhere correctly, and even after it was, the halo effect of it non-adhering around the sides eventually caused it to peel off and dust get under it because the glass is not formed correctly for that phone, even though you guys advertised it for sale specifically for that phone, and it didn't fit. So yeah, incredibly disappointing. And I believe this is the part where I show the fingerprint sensor malfunctioning. When I first got the phone, it did not work at all. Now, the way it works is you touch it and then rotate so it gets multiple imprints of your finger, and you can add multiple fingers so you can use different fingers to unlock it. The first time I did this, I literally just continuously made more shots of the same finger. So I had about five saved account files or whatever of the fingers of the same finger. This way it couldn't possibly screw up, and it refused, the finger sensor refused to work, and it would constantly say like, oh, you've tried and failed too many times, you now have to use your unlock pattern or whatever. After I reset the phone though, it worked a lot more. It still failed quite a few times. So the fingerprint sensor, after I reset the phone, was functioning much better. But when I first tried using it, when I got the phone and started going through it, it didn't work at all. And then you'll watch me sit there pressing it a couple times. Now I calibrated it on 2 occasions, so it has 2 accounts of the same finger, and it's still having trouble accessing or opening up correctly. See, this time it didn't lock me out at all. It managed to work enough times in a row where it didn't lock me out from attempting it too many times. And then after this, I'll probably show some pictures of the camera. The camera color reproduction and its ability to focus is extremely poor. Even, I mean, that old phone you saw that I had in the picture, that thing only has an 8 megapixel camera. This phone has a 13. And my phone with the 8 megapixel camera takes better photos than the Umi Super, which is ridiculous. You've got almost twice the megapixels, a newer, more high-tech phone, and it is getting outdated. The pictures are being topped by a much cheaper, older phone. And I'm talking, I don't even screw with the setting. I just open it up, take the picture, bam, amazing picture. This phone, you got to screw with the settings for like 10 minutes before you take the picture in hopes to get a almost decent picture. So either they lied about the camera that they use, or their software behind the camera it is just that bad. You know, like the GPS, it just doesn't work. Yeah, and I don't know if I mentioned it before at all, but the speaker call volume when you put your phone to your ear to hear somebody, you can't adjust it, and it is incredibly quiet. I mean, unless you're in a dead silent room, you can't hear a person talking to you. So that's incredibly frustrating for even the most basic phone calls. And then finally, I don't think I was able to show any examples of it, but if you keep a single color on a screen, either white or black, that way, you turn the phone a little bit, a lot of people complain about a burnt image into the phone, and that's true. I did see that. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's basically a blotch in the center of the phone. So when you have a uniform color and nothing else is getting in the way to screw up your vision, you can see that burnt semi-image in the phone, and this phone is obviously brand new. Here I'm actually right now looking at the sound settings to see if there's any possible way I can adjust the volume to make the sound any better, and there isn't. I also looked at a couple forums, and UmiSuper addressed many of the complaints about these issues, and they claim they fixed them, but those were old forums, so I'm currently running the most updated version of their software, and the problems still persist consistently.